All right, what's going on, everybody? We are back with another show, another Saturday. Once again, everybody, before we start getting the show going here, let us know in the chat how everything sounds. We just want to make sure the audio is good before we start. We don't want to start with any messed up audio, any issues, or anything like that. But once again, man, we are back with another fire ass episode of the Shop Podcast, episode 140. We're damn near at 150 episodes, man. Appreciate you guys every single week showing up, showing out, showing love every single week. So you guys, you can see we are down one amigo. Shout out to Stagman. He is out having a ball with his wife and his family. So shout out to him. He will return to the podcast next week, man. Appreciate you. I'm sure you're gonna be listening to the show later on, man. Have fun, be safe. But I do have my other brothers here on the podcast doing it live, doing it big. I'm gonna let them introduce themselves. If you guys don't know who they are, as you should, but if you guys don't, we're gonna go ahead and just start with you, Centurion. Let everybody know what's going on with you. What you got cooking up for the week, man?
Oh, what's up, guys? Sorry, I was getting a phone call from somebody. That's why I had to silence my stuff for a second. Oh man, I'm so excited to be back here with you guys on the Shop Podcast. I've been looking forward to this all week. The only podcast I've done was the live impressions for Saltiest Gaming on the Game Awards.
Okay, cool.
So definitely, this is going to be fun, man. There's been a lot of stuff happening in the
Oh
past
yeah.
48 hours that we need to talk about.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, man. We've been, this thing. We ready to go. It's been a lot going on. Once again, guys, we got a lot to unpack. So get your drink, get you a snack, sit back, relax, keep your feet up, man. We're gonna dive right the fuck in. But last but not least, Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere, man, coming in last to smooth this whole thing out. What's going on with you, Fuzz? How you been, brother?
Not too bad. Been watching the Twitter streets and watching YouTube on a lot of the news that's been happening. So been pretty anxious and happy to. Well, we've been looking forward to just coming here and talk about this stuff. It's been some big news as of recent.
Big news is a damn understatement, man. Some gargantuan news. None of us saw coming. But either way, man, we gonna dive right the fuck into this, man. Once again, kick your feet up. Hit the like button on your way in too. We appreciate all the support on the channel. Hit the subscribe button if you have not already subscribed to the channel. Let's go ahead and dive right in. So we're gonna go ahead and go through this quick. Now, usually we go into detail about the poll of the week. I'm not gonna do that this week because we have so much shit to talk about. I'm just gonna cover the winner of the poll of the week and the results essentially, and then we'll just dive right into the next topic. So let me get it pulled up here. So if you don't know already, every single Monday I do a poll of the week early in the morning. So follow me on Twitter if you're not following me there. That's where you can catch up with the results of the poll of the week. You can vote. Then we talk about it every single Saturday here on the Shop Podcast. So this week's topic was which narrative you hope goes away next gen. Pretty simple question. Pretty inflammatory question. A lot of different options, a lot of different answers. The three options were power, no games, marketing, and an other. So no games actually was an overwhelming favorite. Got 73% of the votes. So three out of every four people voted for that option, which is no games, which we all know is a bunch of BS. We all know that we're not buying these games just to sit them in front of our TV and look pretty. We're all playing games on these consoles, so I hope that narrative goes away. I think all three of us can agree that that's silly as hell. It's always been kind of silly, but at the end of the day, things like that are used for console wars and other reasons. But at the end of the day, we're all sitting here playing these games. So that was actually the poll of the week. We'll have another one Monday. So once again, follow me on Twitter, and you guys can catch up with that every single week. We're gonna dive right in to some Xbox stuff, man, because I wanted to get into this ASAP. No, let's waste no time. So we're definitely going to be talking about everything that went down at the VGAs, but we're going to specifically talk about the left fucking field announcement of the Xbox Series X. We got a reveal. We know what this thing looks like. We saw the controller. We saw a trailer. We also got a trailer for Hellblade 2, which is Ninja Theory's brand new game. Obviously, it's a second coming of the first game, essentially. So everything was phenomenal. None of us knew this was going to happen. I have no fucking idea how Jeff Keighley, held on to this entire time. He's known for the leaks here and there, but I don't know how he held on to this shit. They probably strapped him to a chair like 5 minutes before the show started, so he wouldn't tweet or anything. Kept him away from his phone. But either way, I wanted to get you guys' general opinion, not only here on the podcast as well as in the chat. What you guys feel about the announcement? Where were you at? What were you doing? What was your train of thought? What was your first thought when you saw it? So we're gonna start with you on this one, Fuzz. I know we talked about this pregame, but when you saw it, I mean, I didn't know what the hell was going on. I was actually on my phone watching it, and I had no idea what the hell was going on. I just decided to chime in real quick on Twitter and
Mhm.
check in what was going on, and I just happened to, you know, jump on Twitter right when everything was going down. So, what was your opinion, man? We obviously didn't see this coming.
No, I at first I wasn't sure it was actually real because I wasn't watching the awards live, so I was kind of catching everything kind of like secondhand, 15, 20 minutes out from when it was announced, and I'm like, no, they didn't announce that console.
Yeah.
It's too early. This somebody's playing a joke, somebody's trying to be funny or something. I'm like, no, wait, oh, there's a video on YouTube. Oh, wait, how? There's no way that this was that. it, I'm amazed. First of all, kudos to Microsoft on keeping things,
Yeah.
top secret for
Yeah.
as long as they've been doing.
Yeah.
They were getting so much better as far as stopping the leaks, and I don't think Keeley even knew. I think it was probably one of those surprise things. They were probably like, "Oh, we're going to announce." Well, they may have told him like Hellblade 2, and I don't think he
Mhm.
particularly cares. So they're like, "Oh yeah, we're just going to announce an upcoming game from Ninja Theory, other than what's the other one called?" Uh,
Um.
I can't think of it right
Yeah.
now, but
Yeah.
yeah, that they probably just told them, "Oh, we're going to announce another game," and then boom, they drop that on our laps, type of thing. So we all kind of knew it was in the works, but the earliest we were expecting anything, if it's to follow any Xbox tradition, would have been sometime in March. A couple of months before
Yeah.
E3. It's like, oh, here's what it looks like behind glass, and here's what it's going to do. And no, they picked the prime time when they know everybody's
Mhm.
watching. They they kind of pulled the Sony without being like Sony to some
Yeah.
extent.
It's very
So
true.
they are getting better at their marketing and putting stuff in the limelight. So they know everybody's looking for new game trailers. They know everybody's looking there to see who wins and what games get announced and stuff like that. But yeah, perfect timing. That was one of those things that it just caught me off guard. And more I looked at it and stuff, and more info is coming out about as far as its power overall in comparison. It's pretty amazing. Um, it's hard to believe it's like 12 months from now. I gotta wait. I really have to wait
Yeah.
now. So it's
So
like,
so
but other than that, it was awesome
the
surprise.
thing I wanted to kind of throw a twist in there too, and we talked about this pregame. So
Mhm.
I think this was huge. I think
Yeah.
it was huge. This is completely left. This is not something that Xbox generally does. This is not something that they generally do. This is all strategic because I think once again what this does is now that we've got the visual out of the way, that's completely out of the way. That's not going to be talked. It'll be talked about prior to E3, but that's
Mhm.
not going to take up any time on stage now. We're not going to take up the time on stage building this thing up and having and talking for 20 minutes about it. Then boom, here's a reveal. That's no
Right.
longer a thing. Now we just get to show you what this thing can do, as well as I was telling Centurion before the show that I think they're going to use the new games to show off the console's features. Now that we got that out the way, I
Yeah.
think as they show these new IPs, they're going to use these games to show off. Hey, by the way, when you're in the middle of playing this, you can do this or this can happen. You can. I think they're going to use the games to now show off what the console can do. What would you say to that? What do you think about just the timing? Because once again, this is not something we saw them even ever doing. Like the
Oh
VGAs,
yeah.
really. So what do you think about that?
I think you're right. As far as when it comes to for E3, it's once again it's going to be all about the games. And now they got 15 studios and everybody's got a couple of teams. I think it's just going to be game after game after game. And like you said, it's going to be this is what the games are going to look like on this new system. This is what you'll be able to do with these games. This is going to be how things transition from the current gen to the next gen. So this is what it's going to look like on Xbox One X. It's still going to look beautiful, but here's the next thing turn up
Mm-hmm.
a few more notches. Here's what the ray tracing looks like. Here's what the 60 frames or the 120 frames looks like in comparison to the 30 frames. So you're right. It's going to narrow down the time that they spend on it to put more focus on the games or more focus on new peripherals or other things. Because I think it was Brad Sams that was saying with them going to this new naming setup with
Mm-hmm.
Series X, it opens the door for them to use that series for other things. Not
Yeah.
that I don't think they're going to do a portable because why
No.
bother at this point since you have XCloud, but it
Nintendo's got that
make
market cornered.
exactly and it makes it easier for them to maybe wow us again with some other stuff. Like I know there are some people out there that are really upset that they're not really focusing on VR, but you never know. But it could be one of those things that's kind of like a cold trail deal, but I don't want to bring up
Yeah,
bad
tinfoil
blood on
hats
stuff. But
off. Yeah.
yeah, E3 will be more about the games, what they look like, what they're able to do, or what the system's able to do with those games in comparison to the current gen, and why you should go out there and buy one today, type of thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's awesome getting
Oh yeah.
that out the way.
And I think you hit the nail on the head before we get to Centurion about they did it. This is a Sony like move. That was very Sony of Xbox to do that. That was
Hmm.
very Sony of them. This is something that nobody saw coming. Not even people on the Sony side. Even Nintendo, whatever. I don't even think they saw this coming at all. Very very interesting. Does put a lot of emphasis. Puts the ball right back in Sony's court. How are we going to reveal this thing? Are we going to show ours early? Are we going to hold on to it till E3 and then give it this full blown, kind of a show? Or are we going to show it early, maybe at a PSX? Who knows? So it's very, very, very interesting as to what this is going to do going forward. So we would definitely see. But Centurion, I wanted to get your opinion as well on just the overall, the announcement in first place. Just the fact that we got this shit, we saw it. I mean, we're looking at the next Xbox way or like 6 7 months before we thought we'd even be able to see it at all. So very very interesting strategy. So I wanted to get your opinion when it first happened, when you first saw it and realized, wait a minute, that's the next Xbox. What was your thoughts?
I kind of knew what I was looking at when I first saw it because they were changing games and stuff. I was extremely surprised, pleasantly surprised, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely, like I was saying when it was just before Fuzzy got in the pre chat. I was saying if I was Phil Spencer at the end of that whole thing, I would have took the microphone off the stand, looked at everybody in the crowd, and just dropped that thing on the floor and walked away. And to kind of like top this whole thing, I remember I was telling you about that tweet. To kind of this will open up a whole discussion right here. Is this guy kind of is a major PlayStation fan. I won't give his name, but I mean, he's definitely set the tone for how PlayStation fans are feeling at the moment. He put this whole speech on here. It says, at the Video Game Awards, Microsoft took the whole industry and the world by surprise when they revealed their lame ass fridge box shit series. We could see his hatred right there. I'm sure they took Cerny in the audience by surprise, as well as that clown Jim Ryan. What Ninja Theory showed off of Hellblade 2 is undoubtedly the greatest thing visually any gamer has ever feasted their eyes on, which resulted in the highly anticipated Ghosts of Tsushima trailer to look quite underwhelming in comparison. It even makes The Last of Us 2 look underwhelming.
I wouldn't say all of that. That's ridiculous.
But
He's hurt. He's hurt.
that guy is extremely.
That's an emotional tweet. That's a
Right
very
there,
emotional tweet.
like look at it. Like this year, being an Xbox fan, everybody needs to. This is for starters. Everybody's using this whole thing of like this isn't like Microsoft. Well, guess what? When Phil Spencer took over Xbox, Don Matrix and the powers that be at that time were running that division into the ground. So Phil Spencer and the rest of the team over at Xbox have been doing what they have to do to survive this generation. They already know this generation is lost. They already know that this generation has been a total clusterfuck, excuse my French. But the only thing is, now we're getting towards the end of the generation. We are really going to see how Phil Spencer is going to handle an actual generation that he's going to be able to start up and be in control of. This is probably how Phil Spencer has wanted to be the whole time. It's just something he's not been able to do because of, he wasn't able to launch the Xbox One. He had to stand in the background while some dude waved his arm over a VCR. And so like now we're seeing right now the fruits of his labor and basically the storm that is coming to gamers and what's going to happen to the Xbox brand, and it's personally going to make the PS5 or PlayStation in general almost look like they're standing still. We have 15 studios and they are cranking out some pretty good looking stuff. They have something for everybody. Obsidian is making Grounded. You got that goofy survival style game, kind of like Fortnite. We're gonna have Ninja Theory with Bleeding Edge. We're gonna have another Ninja Theory with Hellblade 2. Everybody's cooking something up for everyone. You're not gonna be able to find a gamer that won't have a game on the Xbox ecosystem.
Yeah.
And so we're about to see Microsoft take next generation by storm. And a lot of fans really already see this coming, and they're going to have to obviously stop the shenanigans because, if they're going to keep holding their breath that somehow PlayStation isn't going to follow suit with some of the tactics that Microsoft is doing, I don't know what to tell you, but
I
the
don't
industry
know.
is. See, that's the only thing. It's the whole phrase work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
PlayStation has been cranking out consoles. Oh, we've sold 100 million. We've sold 100 million. And we made the same amount of money as the guys that sold half that.
Well,
So it just shows that you are breaking your backs to try to sell consoles when literally Xbox is making the same amount of money and they're not having to break their backs to do it. And this
well,
generation, they're going to definitely be kind of hit the ground running. They're going to, I don't know, in my opinion, I think they're really going to want to change the image of what people really think of the Xbox console.
yeah. I mean, honestly, I think that's a huge deal. And I agree with some of that. I disagree with some of the Sony stuff only because I feel like Sony knows what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? They know what they're doing. I don't have any doubt that they're going to deliver the PS5 like it should be delivered. Hopefully, they'll deliver it to their fan base how it should be delivered, how everybody wants them to. The interesting thing as well is that everybody seemed to gloss over was that this essentially clears the queue for Xbox. And when I mean clears the queue, we got announcements for all the rest of the games that are going to be featured for this Xbox for this generation now. They've already announced all of that. Anything we don't know anything probably past like what May? It's
Yeah.
completely blank. We have no idea what's happening after that. It
Now,
completely cleared the queues. The Video Game Awards they gave release dates for some of the new games obviously, or some of the games that we already knew were coming out, like your
Ori.
like the Ori, obviously those games, Gears Tactics. Then
Yeah.
it just completely clears the queue all summer, and then this fall, I think they did a phenomenal job. I think that was a great strategy. Whoever's idea that was to go ahead and just let it fly now, I think that was bold. I think it was smart. I think that they proved, and by doing that, we're ready. Like we're ready. We can make a brand new console right now. If you
can
guys
I
want to
ask you
start,
guys a question?
yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Because this is the other half of what, because like that whole comment, the fridge box. What's your
I'm
guys'
not worried
impressions
about
of
that.
of the size of it?
I'm not worried
I
about
actually,
that.
I personally like it.
I, I was gonna bring that up too. It grew on me. At first, I was like, well, let's see. But then the more and more I looked at the form factor, then I realized that hey, they put the controller in that picture for a reason. That shows the
Yeah.
scale, and it's not very big. It's not very big at all. So I like the
Yeah,
idea, and to think about the functionality of it. PC, as far as like the heating, cooling, that's a PC tower essentially. So they're gonna
Yeah.
get optimum performance out of that design as well. So.
now, the whole thing is that aggravated me about people sitting here playing this BS game of, oh, where's it gonna fit? I don't blah blah blah. Look,
Oh,
if
I'm
you're
not worried
still
about that.
shoving your game console still into a slot, obviously you're probably overheating that thing constantly. I have to laugh
Yeah.
at all the people that like, oh, my console overheats, the secondary fan kicks in. I'm not bragging here, but when I bought my entertainment center, I specifically bought one made of glass because I know how heat distribution works. And like, I don't have that problem. I don't shove my consoles in small spaces. On top of that, did you guys see my tweet a few weeks ago when my wife got me the Thanos gauntlet
No.
Oh
from Iron
yeah.
Man, from the Avengers? It's the Iron Man gauntlet at the end of Endgame
Oh, okay.
where they and I mean that's a very large size toy. It is what it is. It's a toy. It's made by
Yeah.
Hasbro. I found space for that on my entertainment center, and that thing's probably the size of this Xbox X series
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
Series X.
Yeah.
And if I could find space for that on my entertainment center, and it's a toy,
And you
I'm
can
pretty
lay it
sure I will
down
find
as
space
well.
for
You
this
you
thing.
can put it horizontal as well. So you have a couple different ways you can do it. I mean, it's really not that big of a deal. We all when we buy these things, we make space in our home for these devices. So anybody saying that, oh, I don't know where I'm going to put it, is full of shit. You'll eventually find somewhere to put it at. Like it's not gonna be some, oh my god, I need to really sit and mull over this idea. It's gonna throw off the feng shui of my living room. Like no, like you're gonna buy something to sit it on. Like it's not that difficult. It's
Yeah.
probably going to sit next to your PC tower. Honestly, if you have a PC or something like that, so I wouldn't. I'm not worried about the design. I know that design was more to me for functionality than
Mm.
I
anything else.
totally, dude, I totally understood the design of that because I was talking about it with my wife and my buddy at work. My computer right now has a 2700 in it and it has a fan built on top. There's three fans over the top of it and there's one on the back. Basically, there is five fans cooling my graphics chip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll definitely see. But nice warm up topic, guys. Once again, we definitely want to start with that because that was the big news this week, at least for us. But let's go ahead and keep moving on, man. More shit to talk about. Now, something else big. Now, obviously, with all this news that happened recently, that kind of overshadows everything else that happened this week. So there was another big argument, but another big piece of information that actually came out this week, and it was about Bioshock. Obviously, they announced Bioshock was going to be in development. A new game is in development to make. Bioshock is a great game. If you have
Hmm.
not played it, go back and play the OG Bioshock game. One of the most thought provoking, probably emotional games of the 360 generation. I mean, that game set the bar for a long time as far as narrative and storytelling, and like a single player game. It set the bar. I like Ken Levine. I don't really mess with Peter Molyneux, but Bioshock is a gem, and I'm glad to hear that they're making a new one. I think that it's going to fit in as far as the type of game that this new generation needs. We obviously talked about like Borderlands coming out, and we finally got one of those. Bioshock, the last one was what, Infinite, I believe,
Yeah.
and that was at the end of the last generation. I think it was the ass end of the last generation. Infinite came out, and it's always been a great game. So, what do you want to get you guys' opinion here on if this Bioshock game is going to be something you guys are picking up, and how surprised are you that we're going to be getting a new Bioshock game? So, we'll start with you again, Fuzzy, on this one.
I'm kind of surprised. I kind of thought that that was one of those titles that they had just decided to abandon, type of thing, and I never understood why. But I'm glad to hear that they're actually bringing it back, and it considering the timing, it might be about 2 or 3 years out, but it'll be perfect timing at that point as far as the new generation console, and they'll give them plenty of time to kind of fine tune things to be able to be optimized for those new systems. So I'm anxiously looking forward to see what they're able to do as far as the size of the worlds and the amount of AI on screen and things like that. So it's
I wonder if they're gonna
some
bring
more
back
good
the big
news.
daddies, man.
It's yeah, it's about time that they. Well, I know that there's some out there that would really like to see. Um, what is it? Andromeda, not Andromeda. What is it?
Mass
What
Effect.
Mass Effect? They would like to see a Mass Effect title brought back, but yeah, Bioshock is a nice one to see for next generation. I definitely looking forward to see what it's like when it comes out for the new generation console,
Yeah.
and we'll more than likely pick that up day one. So
You know what the crazy thing about this is? I just had a thought. You know how people talk about, well, we want new IPs, new IPs, new IPs. There's a time and place for these older franchises. I'm not saying that we need them all the time. Like some people are like, oh, we don't need any Fable. Let's just keep pushing forward, keep pushing. We don't need any. Look, there's a time and place for Fable. Fable fits. You just got to figure out where to put these new games at. If you do them at the right time, they'll work. They worked then. I'm sure they'll work now. You just got to put a new spin on it. So I think that these older games, specific older games, not we don't need a remaster every single past game, but specific ones. I think they work great, and I think there's been not ideas, but there's been examples throughout the generation that when if they do it right. Resident Evil being a great example. If you do it and do it the right way, these games will sell. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So, that's just kind of my little rant about people saying, "Hey, we don't want some of these older games to be coming back." So let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Centurion. What do you think about Bioshock? Did you play the older Bioshock? Have you played that? What do you think about the idea of getting a new Bioshock?
Before I answer your question, am I echoing?
I don't know. I
I
asked.
think
I just
Sean
asked.
too. Yeah,
I
keep
keep seeing
coming.
it popping up in the chat that like there's an echo and like I'm wondering if it's coming from me. So, anyways, yes, I played the Bioshocks. I enjoyed the hell out of 1 and 2. I still have yet to play Infinite like a fraud. But I don't know. Maybe for the whole. Wow, yeah, I have an echo. I'll have to fix that in a second. Anyways, I really, man, I couldn't play Infinite just yet because I mean the whole claustrophobia and the whole world of being inside Rapture and that whole ecosystem down there under the water. I could only imagine what that would look like today on today's consoles with improved graphics and just building that world with those graphics in mind. Because even as a remaster, you're not going to be able to get the full potential of what that world could look like if it was built for the ground up with the tech that we have today. So I definitely would love to have another Bioshock game for sure.
Okay. Cool. Cool. All right. All right. Not a problem. So yeah. I know the chat was talking about an echo. They said it was affecting everybody but me. So I don't know. I'd say Fuzz Centurion, check your mic. It could be me as well. I'll check mine here. I don't think I made any adjustments here, but they're saying it was an echo. But let us know, chat, if it's like a really, really bad echo. Let us know because I don't. Once again, I want everything to be you guys be able to hear it and have a good experience listening to the show. Oh, he said no. It's just echoing for him. It's better now. Okay, cool. All right, that's fine. So let's go ahead and keep things going. Fuzz, already got to you about Bioshock. Centurion, we got to Bioshock. So once again, guys, that was another announcement that happened this week. I know because of all of the recent announcement that probably got glossed over, but that was huge. I know for me, be it the fact that I've played the first two Bioshocks, great games. Really, really happy to see that they're going to be making a new one, and it's going to be on a next gen console, which I'm really excited to see what they'll do with the world, the story, the characters. Really, really happy to see that coming back. So let's go ahead and keep things moving. Now, we're going to elaborate on the Xbox Series X because this is a topic that I already had on the list even before we got the reveal of the console. And I wanted to talk about the fact that we are getting two different SKUs, and as far as a Lockhart and an Anaconda, and I want to talk about why I think that's extremely, extremely significant and why I think that's a huge benefit for Xbox going forward. That they have getting it out the way that, hey, we're going to be putting out two different consoles. So I kind of wanted to elaborate on that first because I think that the idea that coming out this generation, knowing that price point is such a huge deal, having two different SKUs, one that's obviously extremely powerful, going to give you everything if you're a hardcore gamer that you want, then another option which is also more powerful than the Xbox One X, but at a discounted price, you're going to have a little bit for everybody. And they're not going to have a situation where, what happened last year in $500. Oh, the fucking roof blew off the roof blew off the building when Sony came out and said, hey, our console is $400. You're not going to have that issue because now you have multiple SKUs. So I think that eliminates the possibility of them dropping the ball on the price point. So let's go ahead and start with you, Fuzz, on this one. What do you think about just the two SKUs? And we've been talking about this for months now. We've heard rumors that they were going to be doing two SKUs. Now that it's pretty much confirmed, what do you think about them and them getting off to a different start this next time around?
Well, I think along with the announcement and everything, this is them playing chess to some extent by unveiling the what I'm assuming is the Anaconda version of their SKUs. Um, it doesn't necessarily put Sony in a box, but it makes them kind of go back on their heels. Does Sony now not necessarily re-engineer, but go back kind of to the drawing board, or try to pump things up to try to be on par with this the Series X, or do they stay with their original plan and then just go for like a price cut type of thing, figuring that the Xbox is either going to be 500 or 600, and then they try to come in at like a 350 or 400 range or something along those lines. But having that second SKU gives Xbox that backup option. So if their Anaconda version is 600, let's say, still hoping for the 500 price point, but let's say it's six, Sony comes out with 400, then the Lockhart or maybe the Xbox Series S is somewhere around like the 300 to 400 range. So gives them a little bit of leeway. It's a good idea considering not everybody is going to be able to shell out, $500 or $600 day
Mm-hmm.
one on those. And considering that there's two consoles coming out, and I'm one of those knuckleheads that's going to probably wind up buying both. I don't want to really break the bank, but I'm definitely going with the Series X, and
Yeah, absolutely.
hopefully there. Well, if there is a PlayStation 5 Pro at launch type of thing, then
That's
that'll
another
probably
thing.
be
Yeah.
a day one as well. But if it winds up being later, it's probably going to get left out. I'll just wind up getting the standard PS5 and be happy, and
Hmm.
you know empty out the wallet to the limit falls out type of thing. So, but yeah, having two SKUs makes it a lot easier, especially around the holidays, because yeah, things are expensive these days. No matter how you look at it,
Yeah.
it's always a good option.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. No, no, I agree. I agree. And it's funny because Zink in the chat was saying that like he doesn't think there's going to be two SKUs. Now, interesting idea that there may not be two SKUs right away. That is the
Yeah.
thing. They may be planning on having multiple SKUs. We may not get that second option launch. We may only have the Anaconda option right off the bat. So that's just another thing too to think about as we go forward. But once again, all of this, like you said, is chess. All of these are things that Xbox is not known for doing these types of things. Like they don't announce, they don't show their brand new console that we've all been waiting for the last 3 or 4 years at a completely separate event. That's not normal. This is a
Mhm.
new Xbox. They're going a new direction. We didn't hear. I mean, I know Centurion. You said it pre-game, pre-show, that we haven't had. There's been zero leaks this year regarding Xbox. Zero
Oh yeah.
leaks. Like they've done such a great job with not leaking anything. We know for the last 3 or 4 years it was leak city. It was leaks everywhere. Everything decent that was gonna get announced got just about spoiled due to leaks, and they've
Well,
been doing a great job. I don't know if they've gone through and clean house. I don't know
they
what they've
released
done.
from what I've heard is they released a lot of false information
Hmm.
just to see who would leak what, and as soon as they started figuring out where those leaks came from, they plugged those holes very quickly.
Okay.
You notice like they're not as many people are kind of speaking about Xbox anymore because they kind of got cut out of the little inner
Yeah.
circle of information.
Yeah. Well, you
Mm.
got to do what you got to do. But let's throw this over to you, Centurion. Just about the two SKUs. I know you're a lot more knowledgeable on this than a lot of individuals that in the community. So what do you think about the idea of the two SKUs first and foremost? And I wanted to throw you kind of a curveball question as well. What do you think if the two SKUs in fact is true and they'll be available soon, like maybe not day one, but like within the first month or two? What do you think that does for Sony? What do you think that does for them?
Well, for starters, I do believe there's going to be two SKUs. There's enough information coming out that there's a that this thing exists. Because let's face it, Phil Spencer wants to make gaming available to everybody, and he understands that price is a problem. I do see them phasing the Xbox One S out and getting the Scarlet as that entry level, and then you're going to have the one in the middle, and then you're going to have the Series X. So, like the Lockhart is definitely going to be one of those things that are going to put Sony in a position. Is if Sony doesn't have the two SKU thing, because like we were saying earlier, there has been the two SKU myth going for both companies.
Yeah.
Both companies. For Microsoft, it's a higher end and a lower end console. With PlayStation, it's the PS5 and then the PS5 Pro.
Yeah.
So it seems like Sony wants to put out that base console and then make a more hopped up version probably after they figure out what Xbox has been cooking up with the Series X. One thing I do want to say though is whoever's pushing this narrative, and that's you, IGN, and some others, that apparently people are sheep and stupid and don't know how to get information on their own, and that this two SKU system is going to be confusing. And the funny part is they're always directing it towards Microsoft. When PlayStation comes out and says we're going to have two SKUs, it's revolutionary. But when Microsoft does it, they're like, oh, it's going to be confusing. Well, there's 4 different versions of the Google Pixel. There's like 4 different versions of the S10. So these are just cell phones. There's different versions of televisions.
iPhones.
iPhone, yeah. And here's a big one, guys. When a movie comes out on disc, you have DVD, Blu-ray, and Blu-ray 4K.
Yeah.
Ask anybody in the store. I don't care who you're. Same movie. If you were to ask somebody standing in the Walmart electronics section and ask them, the difference between all 3 movies, they'd be able to tell you. Oh, DVD is, okay. Blu-ray is better. 4K is God. But then you'll hear them say, but I don't care about the picture, so I'll just pick it up on Blu-ray at most or DVD. Most of the time, you have to get somebody who's a picture junkie like me who wants to go all in on a 4K Blu-ray. But that's what I'm just saying. Like, for some reason, I don't find stupid consumers. I find informed consumers. People know what they're buying. Walking around on Black Friday, yeah, everybody, they were selling that all digital edition Xbox left and right. I actually heard one person walk up and say, I don't want that one because it doesn't have a disc drive. They weren't confused. They knew exactly what that was.
Yeah.
So that's where
Yeah.
I'm just saying this whole narrative of like it's going to be confusing. It just throw it in the bushes, as
Yeah.
the Iron Words would
I don't
say.
I
This
don't
is
believe
just
that at all. Because generally, any like you said, generally we've been talking about these consoles for months now. All right. So anybody on Twitter right now that has an account that's older than a year, you need to stop. If you've been on Twitter longer than a year, you need to stop because you know that's not how products work. You know any product, like he said, he gave you a great example. Cell phones, TVs. This is not a Wii U situation. It's not going to be a Wii U situation where people are wondering, is this really a new console? No, it's a new console. Everybody, we have that established. These are brand new consoles. We're not going to have that. Well, is it a point 0.5? Is this an Xbox 1.5? No, it's not. Like, it's a brand new console. So I 100% agree with you on that one, Centurion, going forward. And I want to throw that back to you as well, Fuzz, because we didn't get to hear
Yeah.
your piece on that whole the idea that there will be this issue with distinction between the Xbox One and this other version and this other
Well,
version.
Well, remember when people were like, "Oh, well, why did they name it the Xbox One X? Isn't it going to sound too close to the Xbox One S? You know, if little Timmy asks his mom for an Xbox One S and she brings back the Xbox One S, he's going to be upset." I remember all that BS, and I'm like, no one's that stupid because they're priced differently. One's $300, one's $500. Mom is going to know if little Timmy said X and it's the one in black or the more expensive one until they release the thing in white. But it's like, it, I guess people just assume sometimes when people push that narrative, it's like I guess they assume they're as stupid as they are. The thing.
I
So
guess, yeah.
push
Fuzzy.
that
Somebody like
narrative.
you who's into cars. Come on, how many different models of the
Oh
same
my
Mercedes Benz are out there?
Oh my god. It's like if you don't understand what the letters and numbers mean, at least look at the window sticker and it kind of tells you. I
Yeah.
mean, it's like look at the box. It's like one's going to say it's for 4K 60. The other one's going to say maybe not 4K 60 or whatever. I
Yeah.
I'm not one that really cares to ask the employees. I mean, yes, there are very knowledgeable employees in Walmart and Best Buy and a lot of these stores. But me as the consumer, I need to educate myself before I step foot in that store because I don't want to rely on the person that I get is the knowledgeable person or they're on break and the person that's from, gardening is covering electronics at the time. So it behooves us to kind of do our own little research and there's so much. I mean, the internet, compared to 80s and 90s, when parents only had what was on the label or a box type of thing, I can understand. But now the internet exists. Just ask Google, ask your phone, ask your personal assistant on your phone which is better or what's what, and it tells you. So yeah, that confusing thing,
Yeah.
it needs to go away. It's
Yeah.
almost as bad as Xbox has got no games. It's like, really?
Yeah. That
Are you
narrative is
real?
crazy. That narrative is crazy. But either way, guys, we do understand that this is something. Like I said, we've talked about this for the last months and months, probably over a year now. We've been talking about potentially them having multiple different SKUs. Is that going to happen? So just being the fact that we are going to get something like that, and then knowing Sony may be doing something similar to that. I know there was something that a tweet came out randomly said they're definitely looking into doing like a pro version of the PS5. So we're probably going to see something like that. So once again, options are never a bad thing, people. So let's not cut our nose off to spite our face with that bad information because that's all it is at the end of the day. Nobody's confused about these things anymore. It's called the internet. It's called social media. If you want to figure out what's the difference between the two, it's literally a press of a button to
It
figure out
also
what the difference is.
it also
So
makes them it also makes them look like a-holes because it's like, oh, we're the gaming media, we're informed, and you guys are dumb.
yeah,
It's like, really.
it's ridiculous. So that's not happening. That is definitely not happening. So let's go ahead and roll on to the next topic, man. Once again, guys, we're having a great show. If you're joining us now, hit the like button, man. Appreciate you being here, man. Show some love. Say hello as you stop in, man. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. I'm gonna do some quick shout outs before we continue on with the actual podcast. Just want to show some love to the people that are actually in here. Born Distracted, Ashtray, Zinc, Silver, Raven Moon, Mod of the Year, Shonsu. Shout out to everybody watching live. If you're not in the chat right now, get your butt in there, man. We like to have fun in there. We talk, we just have a good time either way. So let's go ahead and roll over to the next topic, man. And this was very interesting because once again, like I said, with everything happening at the VGAs, a lot of other things kind of got buried this week, essentially. So I wanted to talk about Halo. Very, very interesting about Halo. Now, obviously, Halo Reach was just added to the Master Chief Collection, and the first week was phenomenal. And it just goes to show you that how big of a brand Halo is. Halo Reach had over 3 million players its first week, which is insane for a game that old.
Yeah.
For a game that old to have that big of a draw. Now, obviously, it's not going to be 3 million every single week, but for a game to be that old, it's Halo and it has that big of a draw is amazing. And that goes to show you that people say Halo Gears Forza. This shit works. It works. And the story's not over yet. We're not at the end of the story. I'm sorry. So if you're tired of the Halo Gears Forza, I apologize. Go play something different. But these stories are not over yet. They're still being written. But I wanted to talk a little bit about not only just the Halo Reach, just Halo in general, because we're getting Halo this year too. I I, I mean I saw some people's list earlier on Twitter. People talking about their top 5 most anticipated games. A lot of people were talking about Halo. We're getting a Halo this year, so I wanted to just talk about the draw of Halo, the fact that Reach being it that it's this really really old game still had a big pool, still had a ton of people wanting to play it. So I'm gonna start with you, Fuzzy. Just Halo as a draw, knowing that we're gonna be getting a brand new one. Seeing what Hellblade is capable of, seeing this console, kind of trying to tie everything together. Does that boost your excitement for this next Halo?
Oh yeah, they're basically prepping the I forget the saying, but yeah, they're prepping the pump at this point as far as they want to build that excitement by releasing Reach. I mean, it was something that they kind of promised to us as far as with the Master Chief Collection, and it'll get people back into that story. That'll get them back into playing the game, even if they don't stick with it for anything more than a week or two. It still is going to be present in their mind. So when they drop, maybe a game trailer or a little bit more of an unveiling as far as what the new console will be able to be capable of with this game in comparison to the current gen, come E3 time, it's just going to warm everybody up and get them ready. So when holiday season hits next year and that console's sitting on the shelf for $500 and Halo's $60, it's a no brainer thing. Or just hey, get a subscription for Game Pass Ultimate for $110 or $120 or whatever it is. If they do like a discounted annual thing or something, but yeah, it it's a pillar for a reason. It's an awesome story, and I have a feeling we're going to see maybe some Bungie involvement later on down the road. I
Okay.
I, I get that weird feeling with Ibar. Well, no, because Activision doesn't have Bungie anymore. They're
No.
independent,
Yeah.
so they're. I wouldn't be surprised if they have some sort of collaboration type of thing, even if it's just DLC or something. But definitely looking forward to it. Definitely prepared for when I pick up my system to pick that up day one.
Oh yeah.
So
Absolutely.
it's tough counting down the 12-month period before we see it. And
Yeah.
maybe a little bit sooner than that, but I know that's one of those things. And between that and Motorsport 8, I'm ready for the next console to
Yeah.
be on the
Yeah.
shelf, and Hellblade too. So it's like
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
all three of those, or at least two out of three of those, are on the shelf when that console drops, it's a wrap.
It's a
It's a
wrap.
wrap.
I'm trying to tell you. So the one thing that excites me though is just seeing that. I mean, after seeing that Hellblade trailer, although it was just like cutscenes and it
Mhm.
wasn't really any actual gameplay or anything, but seeing the capabilities of this console gets me so excited for Halo. It really puts things in
Oh yeah.
perspective, seeing what this thing is capable of. We talked about open world Halo, all these different ideas. We've been throwing this shit around for us for months. I
Yeah.
swear to God, Xbox should be giving us a check, man. They should be using some of these ideas. But either way, we've been and these things are feel the now looking at the console. Obviously, we're going to see even more capabilities, as time goes by with E3 coming up. But just knowing what this thing may be capable of, that makes me so excited for this new Halo.
Oh yeah,
It makes me
definitely.
so excited for this new Halo, man. I am through the roof, man. So wanted to throw that over to you, Centurion, as far as just, seeing the success of Halo, being added back to Master Chief Collection with Reach, and then seeing what this console potentially can be capable of, as far as just Halo, the game Infinite coming up. Like, where does that put you at, knowing that, like, man, this thing it's real. It's real. Obviously, we knew it was, but like, this thing is a very, very, very capable machine. Like, what do you think that plus Halo, like, what does that do for you?
Man, where could I start with Halo? That game has been centered around some of the best multiplayer experiences I've ever had on Xbox and the Xbox ecosystem, going all the way back to even the original Xbox with Halo 2. So definitely going forward, I'm excited to see what they're cooking up with Halo Infinite. We're getting that new graphics engine,
Slip space.
Slip Space engine.
Hmm.
I've even seen some kind of leaked footage of a rumored next Halo Infinite trailer where they show like a banshee parked in grass and the warthog parked on rocks. And I mean, the game looks like it's going to be beautiful. I can only imagine if they give it the same love and attention that they gave Gears 5, we're going to be just fine. And Halo Reach just proves that right there, there is that many people that are willing to play a game that old because it's being brought back. It was remastered. It was given some good loving um, touch ups and all that good stuff. And definitely, man, I don't want to insult PlayStation. I don't want people to think I hate
Oh
PlayStation. I
man.
own one, but it just goes to show like there is not a franchise like this on PlayStation.
Oh, there.
There's not. It's not the like it's a first person shooter with a heavy multiplayer emphasis. I understand that there's first person shooters on PlayStation and there's multiplayer on PlayStation. But coming from a first party studio, this game is like in a league of its own because Halo, whether people want to admit it or not, sets the bar for online multiplayer when it comes to a first person shooter. Like the world itself, the ecosystem of Halo is like none other. I always enjoyed playing Halo on multiplayer, and like I said, some of the best times I've ever had playing multiplayer in a first person shooter revolve around Halo.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely, absolutely. I think we all have fond memories of it, but man, just seeing this console and seeing what potentially it can be capable of, and then thinking about Halo and what we saw as far as just the little teaser we saw as far as that little cutscene. My goodness, man, it just makes me so excited about where the franchise is going, the direction that Xbox is going. I am extremely excited for the future going forward. So what I'm going to do, because we got a little bit of extra time here on the show today, I'm going to take some questions from the chat. Once again, shout out to everybody watching live. Appreciate everybody who's hanging out with us. Hit that like button, guys. Make sure it's 16 people in here. We should have 16 likes on the show, man. Appreciate every single person coming in today, showing us some support and
Can
love.
I
So if you
ask you
want to,
one question that just kind of came to mind?
absolutely, yeah, go ahead, go ahead. If you got something.
We're all talking about the graphics of the next gen console. Let's talk
Mhm.
about um, physical environment, particle effects,
Hmm.
the actual, I'm only imagining what these new consoles are going to do for
Oh man,
multiplayer gaming in
it's gonna be
general.
crazy.
Like
Hmm.
I'm just talking about like, physics. Like it's kind of like, think about it like this. In real life, if you're being shot at and you're hiding behind the same kind of cover, over time, just chipping at it with bullets, your cover is going to get smaller and smaller.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's what the kind of stuff I'm looking for
Yeah.
is, people that want to camp behind a rock. Well, that rock keeps getting shot up and shot up. Eventually, you're going to have no damn rock.
Yeah.
So I mean, just or if a rocket launcher hits the rock, at that point, like in real life, a rock will explode if it's hit with a damn rocket. We just need to accept that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just stuff like that where I'm just really looking forward to, the environments are going to get funner, the gameplay is going to get funner, the things that, like, I can only imagine the multiplayer modes in general. Right now, could you remember back in the day having 16 people in a match was awesome. Now we're at 40, 100. I'm just only imagining what
Oh
kind of
man.
multiplayer modes and all that other good stuff that they're cooking up to kind
Yeah.
of create experiences that are going to change the definition of the multiplayer experience.
And I think you hit every. I don't even know if we can say anything else, Fuzz, because he hit the nail on the head for real. I mean,
I
that's a
yeah.
perfect breakdown of other things outside of just raw graphics that I'm excited for. That a lot of us aren't thinking about. Just world building in general. What are they going to do with these worlds that they've built? Like this is essentially like you building a house. So
Mhm.
you're in the house all day, not realizing that there's an outside. Like you can go outside. Like you can expand this house. And you open, they're like, oh shit, I got all this land. Let me knock these walls down. Now that I figured out there's all this land out here, I think that's kind of akin to where we're at this generation. We're at the end of the capabilities of the Xbox One X, the PS4 Pro. Now we've knocking the walls, and holy shit, there's 20 acres out there that we can still use to build the rest of this house. It's just super exciting to see where these worlds are going to go. So I don't know if you wanted to piggyback off of that, Fuzz, before we get to the couple questions.
I think the only two things would be number of AI and the awareness or the making the AI smarter. I think that's
Intelligence,
that's
yeah,
going to be huge.
yeah,
No more playing, like Assassin's Creed or like a Ghost Recon type of thing where you can sneak up on them almost in the open sometimes. I think there will be a lot more variance in the AI, and then I just think the just sheer number, and I think you might even be able to see things like AI or other elements mixed into multiplayer. So if you got 100 players in a match, you might actually have 100 zombies mixed in there that are AI or something.
crazy.
I
Woo,
I'm
shoot.
just hoping that they're able to turn those notches up that much further. I mean, anything more than 100 people in a match, that's overkill unless they
Yeah.
can do kind of that aspirational thing that the Obsidian was trying to do with Stormlands, where it's like, oh, everybody that's playing that game within your region for the server can, participate in like a public event. But
Hmm.
yeah, that very anxious to see what these things are going to do. Like
Okay.
destructible environments, the whole nine.
Okay. So we'll take a couple questions. We actually got a few questions here, so I appreciate you, chat, for throwing these questions out here. So let me make sure. Let's get to some. So shout out to Zinc, man. My guy Zinc always in here showing love. He said, "Where was Sony's presence at the Game Awards like Phil?" Well, Sony didn't have a console to show. So that's why no slight to Sony. It's just facts. They didn't have a console to show. So that's where they were at. They showed Godfall. Um, we got that. We got a whole bunch of Kojima. That was probably enough Sony for the night.
Mm-hmm.
I,
So I
I
mean, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but honestly, realistically, if there wasn't anything for them to show, why do anything? I mean, they got a trailer for a third party exclusive. That's about all
hey,
you
I,
need.
I could sum it up. I don't want to interrupt, but I could sum it up real quick. They were in the same chair that they were at E3 and PSX. Oh, that's right. They weren't there.
Oh, here we go. See, I'm not even trying to go that far. I'm dead ass not even trying to go that far. But no, I mean they may but once again, if there's nothing to show, they've said it, guys. They've said it in black and white many times.
Mm-hmm.
Two, three different executives. If we're not gonna have anything to show that we don't feel like's worth it, we're not gonna show it. We're not gonna come, we're not gonna put on an event. We don't
They're,
have
they're,
anything to bring to the table.
they're the crouching tiger. They're ready to pounce. They just don't
Exactly.
know when they're
They just
gonna
don't know
pounce.
when.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but
So
the only downside is with doing something like that, you start becoming irrelevant.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but like, well, even like 2019 has been the year
so
of the Xbox, Nintendo, yeah, Microsoft, Nintendo, and even Google Stadia.
Well, the thing about Sony is that would be true, but it's not true at all with Sony because as soon as that Godfall trailer hits, the PlayStation 5 was trending for the next like 4 hours. Now, that's literally once they showed the commercial at the VGAs, PS5 was trending for like the rest of the night until like the media caught up and then Xbox kind of jumped back to the top of the list. But that they have a huge brand. Their brand is extremely strong. So at this particular point, Sony said, if we don't have anything to bring to the table, we're not going to show. We're not even going to these events. There was I don't even know there. I think Yoshida was there. He took a picture with Phil. So I mean, he
Yeah.
was in the building, but there's nothing to show. I'm just coming to see what everybody else is doing. So that's what I'm thinking. But either way, we'll see. You know, they may have a show coming up, but we'll see. We're gonna take one or two more questions, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up for the day. So, um, let's see. There was a couple other questions in here. So, Shontu Mod of the Year said best game to give as a gift is Holiday. I mean,
Hmm.
it depends on who you're giving the gift to. It's hard to say. You know, if you're giving it to your mom, you don't want to give her, I don't know, you don't want to give her, World War Z or something. If it's your mom, you may want to give her something a little. I don't know. That's a hard question, but is it for a kid? Who is it for? So that's really the only way to ask
I'm
that question
I'm
or
gonna
answer
say
it.
for everybody, if you haven't played it, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it is enjoyable. Forza Horizon 4, yes, I'm a big fan of that, but they now have that new mode. We joked about it. We were like, "Oh,
Oh, the
what's going to be the
Legos?
next battle?" No, no, I don't. I'm tired
Oh,
of Lego,
oh,
but
okay.
that's a whole different story. We joked about it before about car battle royale. They have it now. So
Oh
if
shit.
so if you haven't had enough of battle royale, you got to give Forza Horizon 4 a try.
What is it, like a derby now or something? Where you just run into everybody, or
No, you can kind of make it a derby. Basically, in the beginning, it starts off with up to 72 players. You can do head to head races. So you have like a point A to point B. You challenge somebody. Whoever gets to that point wins. And depending on how far you're in the match, you get to level up your car. Now, there's like supply drops where you level up your car. You go to the smoke. You could get a higher level car than what you started off with. Sometimes it might not be higher than the car that you've upgraded to already. Like you might be a level 4 car now, and the smoke over here that you drive to only has a level 2 car. So you have to keep on searching around, and usually the next smoke cloud you go to will be like a car up from you. But you head to head race people, you can either take their car or you can level up the car or in line with the cars that you have now. So if you had like a Bentley SUV, you can go to the Bentley Continental, which is a bit faster and so forth. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like a process of elimination by head to head races. And then when you get to like the last 20 to 12 to 20 people in the match, it sets up for the final race. So head to head races are done, and it's like the final race begins in five, four, three, and then it just puts a random finish point, usually 2 to 7 miles away from where everybody's at, and you have to be the first one to get there. So the first one to get there
Oh.
wins. The first time I played, I got sixth, and the second time I played, I got second. So I'm gonna play some more until I get first. But yeah, the key is it's either win a whole bunch of head-to-head races and level up your car, or get all of the supply drops and find hopefully a better level car to try to
Mhm.
win the final race type of thing. So,
Okay. Well,
but,
the Shontu said that was a trick question. He said you should just buy Game Pass, which is the obvious
ah
answer. Game
yeah.
I,
Pass is the obvious answer here. So
I
either
was
way,
actually wanting to say Game Pass, but that
yeah.
was before that
Game
popped up.
Pass,
I was
yeah,
even thinking like Game Pass is a sure bet, but
yeah.
I'm looking from the perspective: what if somebody doesn't have the ability to use Game Pass? What game would you get somebody? And that's where it's just, man, I wouldn't even know where to begin. It would have to obviously, like you said, be based on someone's age and
Yeah,
interests.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough. That's a tough question to ask, but Game Pass is always a go-to. Day. Just let them pick out of whatever games is in there. You'll be just fine.
Get them Game Pass or PS Now. How about that?
Yeah,
Game
either
Pass
one.
or PS
Either
Now.
one. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So we're gonna take one more question here, then we're gonna wrap this thing up. Now, this is actually the last question here. We got it from the boy Ashtray Gaming, man. Shout out to Ashtray in here hanging out with us. He said, "Panel, are you guys going to have the Xbox SX console for horizontal or vertical?" That's a great damn question. I'm going to have mine vertical, like how I saw it on the show, only because I think that's gonna provide. I mean, it may not be the only ventilation on the box, but it looks like that's the way it's meant to be. To me, standing up the way it is, and I think it's just gonna look cool. It's gonna kind of be like a tower for my TV, like a PC tower for my TV. So I think I'm gonna have mine vertical. What about you, fellas?
Vertical.
Horizontal.
Okay.
I think unless I do a wall mount type of thing, I think I'm gonna go horizontal because I'm gonna
Okay.
just put it where the Xbox One X is. Like the space that I have on the TV cabinet right now, it'll
I'm
fit there without a
I'm
problem.
curious what the
Horizontal.
bottom looks like. Is it just flat? Is it just completely flat and all black like the rest of the box? Or are there like vents underneath? Or I'm curious.
I'm curious too.
Once you lay it on its side, what that bottom part looks like.
I'm wondering if I'm assuming it's probably just flat and it might have like four little like rubber feet
Yeah.
things, the little squares at the
Yeah.
outer corners type of deal. But
Hmm.
yeah, my I'm pretty sure I'm gonna do horizontal just because it'll slot right in where the X1X is
Okay.
right now.
All right. What about you, Centurion?
A vertical.
Okay, my boy.
Like I I want to go vertical for sure, just because it's something different. It looks cool.
Yeah.
It's
I never
definitely
stack
so
my
different.
consoles vertical either. I never do. Even though they all can go vertical, I never do. So I think with this one, be it the fact that it's kind of meant to be that way, I'm gonna do vertical. But go ahead, Centurion.
I was just gonna say I got that Gears 5 Xbox One X, and I'm kind of disappointed that I don't have it vertical. Purely because at least on my entertainment center right now, just the way everything's arranged, I couldn't fit it on there.
Oh, okay.
But this definitely is something I would want to. I would rearrange my entertainment center just to get that thing vertical.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, this is gonna turn into the team sticker no sticker situation all over
Oh
again.
God.
Vertical
Team
or not
vertical, team
vertical,
horizontal.
yeah. You gonna get that trending. Hey guys, whoever Ashtray, make that a thing, man. Go to Twitter and ask everybody, man. Vertical or not vertical,
That
man.
needs to be a Twitter poll all the
Yeah,
way.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
absolutely. I could put that up right now and probably get like 1,000 votes on that bad boy for real. No, but seriously, that's a great question because people are really gonna think. Because like I said, this is the first time. Matter of fact, have they ever shown an Xbox like standing up? Like that's the first picture we see of it. Is standing on its side? No, right? I don't
I
believe.
think they showed the Scorpio
Was
edition
that on its
vertical.
side?
I
They
think
showed the
They showed
Xbox
the
One
X
X
One.
for Gears 5 also vertical.
Well, that's because of the
yeah.
graphics on it. That's because it lights up, right?
Well, no, it doesn't. No, the only console that ever lit up was the Minecraft Xbox One S.
Oh
At least
yeah.
to my knowledge, it had
I thought
the red bricks on
Yeah.
I
the
Same
thought
bottom
here.
of it.
the Gears 5 version that
No,
Xbox.
no, it doesn't. It has the Gears logo with like the skull in it and the
Oh,
COD
I thought
on
it lights
top and
up
the
when you're
cracked
dripping.
ice.
Okay.
And
Mhm.
then on the bottom side, you have the locust emblem that Kate wears around her neck.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
that's what like I said, like, it was just one of those things. Like, I wish I could store it vertical, but I made that choice because I know the emblem's there. It's on a piece of glass. If somebody wants to see it, they can just look underneath it and see it. But
Mhm.
definitely, this thing, it looks, the Series X looks like it is optimized to be in that position
Yeah.
because of the heat exchange.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I'm definitely gonna stand mine up for sure. And that's not traditionally the way I have my consoles. Mine are every single console I own is laying down flat horizontal. So this time I'm gonna do it a little differently. So that is gonna go ahead and wrap things up for the night, man. Man, that hour went by extremely quick, but we had a lot to unpack. So once again, huge shout out to everybody watching live. So when I go ahead and retweet this show, I'm gonna tweet out the link. You guys all watch it. Make sure you retweet it as well. Leave a like on it. Appreciate you guys every single week showing up, showing out. Make sure next week I'm gonna have a guest on the show, and make sure you guys bring a friend. Tell other people about the podcast if you enjoy it. Spread the word. We appreciate you guys. Every single like, every single view on the channel. You guys are fucking amazing. You guys kill it every week. But I will let my two friends here let everybody know where they're gonna be at, what's going on with them. Coming up here. By the way, guys, the very last show. Where is it at? Wait, let me just check my calendar here, guys, because I got something special. So the last show was actually on the 28th. So I'm gonna try and do the last show is gonna be a different show. I got a general idea on the way we're gonna run it, but I will go ahead and get that information out probably next week. Late next week, I'll let you guys know what we're gonna do for the final show in 2019. It's gonna be really cool. So tune into that. But either way, go ahead and let everybody know what's gonna be going on with you, Centurion, where they can find you if you got any more content coming out soon.
As always, I'm cranking out content as much as my busy lifestyle will let me, but I'm always creating content for my channel, Centurion1307 on YouTube. You can also find me on Xbox Live and Twitter at Centurion1307. And I'm also creating articles for great websites like bg4ghub.com and lordsofgaming.net. And I also want to say sorry to everybody because I did kind of click on the audio on my phone just to hear I'm sounding in the show. And I really don't know what's going on. It does. It sounds like I am talking in a bowl underwater. So I apologize.
No, well, we'll get that figured out, man. Once again, you never know. We do this every single week. That's why I always ask you guys at the beginning of the show, let us know if the audio is messed up. That way we can attempt to fix it live on the show. But either way, we'll get it worked out, man. Anything else you wanted to say, Centurion, before I move on to Fuzz?
Oh, no. It's just great spending another Saturday night with you guys.
All right, appreciate it, man. Once again, every week you're on the show, super consistent. Shout out to Stag as well, man. Appreciate you too. He's not here this week, obviously, but he will be back next week. Hope you're having a good time, man. Don't drink the punch. We're not drinking the punch, Stag. Stay away from that. But either way, appreciate you, brother. And last but not least, Mr. Barry Ross of the video game industry, Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere. Let everybody know what's going on with you and where they can find you, brother.
Well, you can find me on Twitter. Haven't been posting as much, but been replying or retweeting a lot of people's stuff and just observing. So find me on Twitter at fuzzy_Belvedere. Uh, More than likely on Xbox Live at Fuzzy Space Belvedere, and also on Instagram, Fuzzy Belvedere altogether. Try to post a picture at least every day, something related to Forza. Try to get some video clips on there as well here soon as well. But man, awesome show. Great talking with you guys. Big week in news. So yeah, been looking
Yeah,
forward to the day to
yeah.
talk about it, and it's been awesome,
Yeah,
man.
and I want to send a special shout out to Fuzz too, man. Fuzz has been around. It's been you've probably recorded over probably close to 100 shows with me somewhere around there. So I just want to say I appreciate you a lot, man. Fuzz is super consistent. Been on the show for a very long time now. Always brings it every single week. But I appreciate you, brother. Centurion, you as well, man. You guys are fucking amazing. You guys make me look good. So I appreciate that, both of you gentlemen. And last but not least here, PTK Blam across the board. Hit me up on Xbox Live if you ever want to game with me. PTK Blam as well on Twitter. That's where you're going to find out what's going on with the channel, what's going on with the Shop Podcast, what's going on with everything that I have my hands in. Hopefully, we're going to be expanding things for 2020, doing some different things, bringing some new elements to the show. And I got a lot planned, man. I want to take this show to the next level, and you guys can definitely help take the show there. But once again, we're out. Same place, same time next week. We're going to have a guest on next week. It is going to be amazing. So be here, be square, man. Appreciate you guys. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Have fun. Happy holidays if I don't talk to you before then. Peace out, everybody. We are out of here.